Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. We are live in Studio B. Joining us now, he is the pen, the face, the celebrity of the Extra Points newsletter.
I like that.
He is Matt Brown, a distinguished writer and fantastic college sports personality. Matt, welcome back to BYUSN. How are you today?
Hey, fellas, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, we brought you on specifically because you are so big time. You have gone A-list celebrity in the video game verse. You got the invite to go play college football 25 before basically everybody else in the world. How was that experience for you?
It was really exciting. I've never been to any kind of video game event like this before. I've got a chance to put a face to a name of a lot of the developers and people behind the scenes that I've been talking with for the past several months, and maybe some I had to pretend that I wasn't talking to if the PR staff was right there. But I mean, it's not like they gave me the sticks and just like left me alone for a little while. It was kind of a controlled environment. But when you've been writing about something for 3 years and you know how deeply important this is for so many people, right? I get more questions about this than anything else that I write about. And then be able to hold it in your hands and realize, oh yeah, this is a real thing. It's a pretty unique experience, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it.
Okay, how was playing the game?
It was a lot of fun. Right. And I have to be careful as I say this, because like I'm not a competitive capital G gamer. I'm not a gaming journalist. And I'm sitting there with many of these YouTube content creators that play Madden for a living. And I'm like, you guys are going to beat me like 400 to nothing. I'm a dad. I can't critique the animation physics the same way here. But what I can tell everybody, right, is it feels really different from the last college football game. I think I'm going to have to take some time to relearn some mechanics. I think many other people here will too. But if you want a game that really deeply and accurately depicts what makes every market unique and special and all of its PlayStation 5 glory, this did it perfectly. I think it'll be difficult to find specific parts of the LES experience that are not depicted in this game. I mean, even 3D scanning like every single seat in the stadium. So it's like, okay, the opposing band sits here, and when you come out of the tunnel, the cheerleaders are going to be here, and here's where the students are, and here's what they're chanting, and here's Cosmo breakdancing, like all of that stuff, very much in the game.
Wow, the attention to detail has gone next level. Matt, how long from day one to completion did this process take?
Years. What I don't think people really appreciate is you really can't do anything with the code from the last game. You know, that came out 2 video game cycles ago. Many of the developers that maintained it are no longer with the company. It's not the kind of thing where you can just like Control C all of the code, paste it somewhere else, and then like, okay, we'll just add movie magic, and now it's real. You're really having to start from scratch, whether that's from the stadium renderings, whether that's to how you depict athletes, to also the blood and guts and X's and O's of college football itself, right? Like the offensive schemes and how RPOs work and the rules work and how recruiting works. It's all very different. I can't say that maybe everything in college football is depicted in here, because honestly, that wouldn't be fun. Right? You don't have to manage a payroll like you might if you're running a major Power 5 program the same way in this kind of game. But I think that many of the decisions the developers made to try and match realism with fun most of those, I think, are going to work out here.
I like that. Realism with fun. That's what I'm hoping for from the game. Okay, how was BYU in the game? Because a lot of people aren't too high on the Cougs going into the fall.
So I will preface this by saying I was playing an incomplete build. And EA is still adding real player likenesses into the game. They're still adjusting ratings. So what I saw is not necessarily the final product. But if I'm remembering correctly, I think that team overall was in like the mid to low 70s, you know, a little bit higher on defense than on offense. I did play about 2 quarters of a game at BYU because I figured I think people in this market are going to be asking about it. I would say that this is a roster that would maybe be a very fun team to rebuild, but is not going to be a team, I think, that's going to be super competitive online unless you're just amazing. It's going to be hard to score 50 points, I think, for what I saw.
It's going to be hard for BYU to score 50 points in real life, we think, too. But we're all still crossing our fingers. Matt Brown, Extra Points Newsletter, is with us on BYU Sports Nation. So how does EA handle the situation where a handful of players opt out? What do they do in those circumstances, especially when they're high-level players on notable teams?
Sure, like maybe, for example, a team like Texas, perhaps, or maybe a quarterback of some renown. Yeah, so the way this works is you're going to have probably less customization. Not probably, you are going to have less customization options for rosters than maybe players might have enjoyed in previous years. So you literally don't have the ability to pop into edit a roster and make March Manning quarterback for Texas, hypothetically, or anybody else. You're also not going to be able to export draft classes if you're doing a dynasty from one to the other, because EA only paid for the licensing rights to be in one video game. And if you pay Gary Bohannon to be in the college football game and you export him to Madden, you have to pay him twice, which EA wasn't willing to do. So there's going to be a little bit of push and pull, I think, as everybody tries to understand what we can do to be compliant with these legal licenses, what we can do financially to make sense. I understand that might be frustrating to some players, but the overwhelming majority of current college athletes have opted into this game. I would imagine for BYU specifically, I'd be surprised if it's more than one or two people on the top 85 of the roster that aren't in the game.
What else did you learn playing this game and talking to people about this game that will have fans, whether it be BYU or otherwise, excited to play?
Yeah, I think that the typical core mode for a lot of people is Dynasty, right? Where you're taking over a team and you're hiring coordinators, you're building recruiting pipelines, you're changing what kind of coach you want to be. Like, do you want to be the person that's really a tactician and is coaching up a bunch of 2 or 3 stars? Are you somebody that wants to build your roster completely in the transfer portal, which you couldn't do before? Are you trying to be the master recruiter and just kind of roll the ball out there? You can do all of those things. I'm actually cautiously optimistic about the new Road to Glory mode, where users take over a hypothetical defensive back or quarterback or running back and play as that player throughout their career. This year, rather than starting in high school, you start in college, but it's really about time management, right? Because if you're a real college athlete, you have to decide between time for school, time for training, time for developing leadership and coach trust, time chasing NIL deals, and your own health, because everybody is banged up by November, and maybe you can't do that photo shoot or autograph session because you need to be getting a deep tissue massage so you can walk for that game on November 11th. That push and pull is very much a part of Road to Glory, where there's not really a perfect way to play. And I can imagine a lot of people are going to find that to be really, really rewarding and really interesting.
Matt, what did the uniform combos look like for BYU, and maybe some of the other notables that you liked in the game?
Yeah, so this was another thing that wasn't completely finalized. The 3 things that developers said we're still putting in here relative to the game that you saw are individual, like real players, individual uniforms, and plays. So some of the playbooks weren't completely finished. But BYU's, it looked like it was mostly done. And shoot, I want to say there were at least 16 different combinations, which people can then mix and match, right? So you've got the royal blue helmet, jersey, pants, socks. You've got navy. You've got, I want to say it was 2 different blackout variations along with the whites. I imagine people on this program will be pleased to know that I double checked, because I thought I might come on this show, might be asked. The tan bib uniforms were not included. I can't speak to whether those are going to be added later, but I didn't see them in the game right now, right? If you're a uniform aficionado, I could say that like almost everybody has more than 5 or 6 Oregon's, as you might imagine. There were at least 2 dozen, including like the eggshell uniforms, some of the pink ones. I think people are going to be able to be very creative in how they mix and match, and can also upload and create their own. You have the capability now to make your own team. So hypothetically, if you were a big Weber State fan and Weber State's not in the game this year, and you wanted to get on the computer and make uniforms that looked very close to Weber State and iconography that looked very close to Weber State and upload that in your dynasty, you could do that.
He's an incredible personality, an incredible writer. You should Google Extra Points newsletter and subscribe, because he's awesome. Matt, thanks for the time, brother.
Of course. Take it easy, fellas. I appreciate you guys.